Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our monthly Lead the Field coaching call. I am joined with Bob Proctor, and we have a ton of questions to get through today, so we're going to go ahead and get started if you're ready, Bob.
Bob's all ready.
All right, our first question is from Deborah. I don't seem to have the motivation to get myself going with the daily tasks. I think I understand the idea and listen to the tapes every day, but I just have trouble doing the meditation or visualization. Any advice?
Yeah, you don't have a goal. You need a goal. You see, you've got to have something you really want, and then you recognize this is going to help you move there. Because if you want something, it's beyond where you're at. And if it's not beyond where you're at, it's not worthwhile because you're going sideways. You should have a goal that you don't know how to reach, but you really want to reach it. And then you use this as a stimulant, as a motivation to help you get there. Without a goal, you're not going to change anything. There's no reason for you to study anything. We study to gain understanding. And, you know, if you're not going after something you don't want, you don't need any more understanding than you've got. But understand this, if you're not going ahead, you're going backwards. No one stays where they are. It's either create or disintegrate. That is the law. So there you go. Next one.
Next one's from Juan. What books or audio systems do you recommend to improve and master the intellectual factors and to study the laws of the universe in depth?
Well, the intellectual factors, I would suggest you go on the program, The Miracle of the Mind, I think it's called. Is that what it's called, Tracy? I don't know.
Magic in Your Mind?
Magic in Your Mind, yeah. The laws, I don't know a book that, I do know it's in the second part of the Science of Getting Rich program that's I think maybe the laws are in here. I get all the programs tied together in my head. I don't know a book where you just get into the laws. I do know that it's in the second chapter of The Science of Getting Rich. Outside of that, I'm not sure where you'd find them. They're in Trower's material. That's pretty heavy stuff. I think that's issue. I would get into Miracle of the Mind for the intellectual factors, definitely.
All right. Next one's from Spencer. I am wondering what cosmic consciousness is and whether we can attain it. If so, what can we do to achieve it?
Well,
also, how does it differ from self-consciousness?
Well, this cosmic consciousness is where you raise your level of awareness until you hit a cosmic state. There's an author wrote a book on it. He was a psychiatrist, Richard Buck. And that's the name of the book, I believe, Cosmic Consciousness. It's quite a while ago. He was written back around 1900. The laws themselves from the last question are on page 86. Now, we don't get into it in any depth here. They're named. But you have to go back to the second chapter, Science of Getting Rich. Cosmic consciousness is where you become one with that which is. You become one with your God. And there's a book written on it. There's a number of people have reached it, apparently. But the author's name was Richard Buck, B-U-C-K, I think. Okay?
All right, next one's from Elena. My number one goal at this time is to heal my neck and back from chronic pain. Would you help me articulate a good specific goal card for this? How can I visualize?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
How can I visualize something this intangible?
Well, first of all, that's not a goal. I can understand you wanting, you want to practice meditation or relaxation for something like that. And you have an affirmation that you repeat and internalize that you're so happy and grateful now that your body is in a very healthy, relaxed state. You mention nothing about pain or hurting or anything, because whatever you mention to your subconscious mind, it just takes it and moves it into form. It sounds like you're a little tense. I would get a good relaxation tape. I think we'd give them to you. You certainly have them in the programs, and practice listening to it. You see, it's repetition that does it. You're not going to do it playing with it once or twice. Every day, a couple of times a day, you want to put yourself into a totally relaxed state until you start to program your subconscious mind to live that way. Some people do, not many, but you can. Okay?
Hey, Bob, back on that previous question about the laws, we have the book that we always do at the seminars, Working with the Law, from Raymond Holloway.
Yeah, but he doesn't get into the laws as we mentioned them. Almost all the laws that Raymond Holloway gets into are secondary laws. Now, they're very good, and it's good to study. The primary laws are the ones we mentioned here. It's like the law of attraction is not a primary law. It's a secondary law. It's based on the law of vibration. The vibration you're in, or the frequency you're operating on, is going to dictate what you attract. You can only attract what you're in harmony or harmony with. Like we're on the same frequency now. That's why we can communicate. If I went onto a different frequency, you wouldn't hear me and I wouldn't hear you. Well, the law of vibration dictates what you're going to attract. The images that you hold in your subjective mind or that you're thinking of and emotionally involved with control the vibration you're in, and the vibration then dictates what you attract. Okay?
Got it. All right, from Nino. I work in the entertainment industry where it is necessary to have multiple projects due to the length of time it takes to get anything done. Any advice on focusing on multiple goals simultaneously?
Well, it's a matter of managing your activities. You can't manage time, so you have to manage activities, and you have to create priorities and then focus. Now, the focus is where you develop the will. The will gives you the ability to concentrate, and that's what you have to do. You have to concentrate on what you're doing. Now, there's a number of projects, and they're all, coming due around the same time. It may be difficult to focus on any one, but that's what you have to do. And you focus and you give it all your attention until you, either complete the project or you run out of time that you've got to give to that project and then go to the next one. But your whole secret here is prioritization of the projects and focus. You can only do one thing at a time. Well, you can do more than one thing at a time. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, but you can only focus on one thing at a time. Your conscious mind, if it tries to focus on two things, that's called confusion. It's like putting two movies on the same screen at the same time. You don't see either one of them. Okay?
Next one's from Tim. Bob, I'm curious if you have ever worked with Napoleon Hill, and if so, what sort of projects did you do together?
I never met him. It's one regret. If I have a regret, I don't know if I really regret it, but I could have met him because he didn't die until the late 60s. I started studying this in 61. However, I did not. I certainly know him through his work.
All right, next one's from Ofer. On my goal card, should I write my big goal every day or the small goal that is part of my C goal? Should I focus on reaching one point at a time and visualize the big goal every day?
Well, you only have one goal. That's your C-type goal. The little goals that you're talking about, they're objectives that you might want to accomplish today to move you towards your C-type goal. And that's where your focus is. Like if you were going to the top of a mountain, you don't keep your eye on the top of the mountain. You keep your eye on your feet where you're going. You're going to fall in a hole if you don't. So you got to focus on what you're doing. You got to check and make sure that you are moving towards your goal all the time. But you focus on what you're doing. Do it as well as you can. But you should only have one goal, and you don't rewrite your goal on your goal card. You write one goal on the goal card, carry the goal card in your pocket. See, the goal then is impregnated into images, into cells in your brain. And when you touch the goal card, the act of touch activates brain cells. It's just like hearing does. Like if I tell you, think of your refrigerator right now. Now you weren't thinking of a refrigerator, but you started to see the refrigerator on the screen of your mind. And that's because the sound of my voice and the vibration that I sent out triggered those cells in your brain. Well, when you touch your goal card, it activates the cells in your brain that contain the image of your goal. And that's the purpose of the goal card. So you carry it loose in a pocket or a purse. You don't tuck it away in a wallet somewhere. So you keep your eye on the goal insofar as you're moving in that direction, but you focus on what you're doing and do it as well as you can, and that moves you towards the goal. Okay?
Next one's from Ching. She has 2 questions. It's fun and easy to focus on my goal and think positively most of the time, but when I feel uncomfortable because of a chronic health issue, it is then very difficult to focus and apply what I've learned from you. My body seems to be in charge regardless of what I think intellectually.
Well, your body's not in charge. You're in charge of your body. If you want to let your body be in charge, that's another thing. But the body is not. The body is the instrument of the mind. The mind is not the instrument of the body, but it can be if you let it be that way. You want to take over and take control of your thinking. And when you find your body taking control, just yell out, stop, or next, do something to stop yourself from letting that happen.
Okay, next question from her is, what is the most effective way to narrow one's knowing-doing gap? I've studied your materials and attended many of your seminars for over 5 years, but I still don't have the results that I want.
Well, I don't have the results I want either. That's why I keep going. The want is in the conscious mind. You've got to turn it into a desire and keep going. Now, you got to ask yourself, am I really focused on the want, or am I focused on my present results? Because if you're letting the present results control, you're working from the outside in, and that doesn't work. You're going to work upside down, inside out, upside down, from the upside, from the highest point, the spirit, the thought to the thing. So you choose the thought, builds the image, and then you express that image. Now, if you're letting the outside, if you're letting the results control your thinking, you can't win doing that. And it sounds like you might be doing that. So don't go there. And quit talking about what you haven't got done. Think of what you have got done. There's a great exercise in the Science of Getting Rich on 7th chapter. It's on gratitude. And he says the entire process of mental adjustment and atonement can be summed up in one word: gratitude. So when you find yourself maybe slipping off track or something, sit down and really think of what you're grateful for about 10 minutes. Write things down. Try and find 10 of them. And really feel grateful. I mean, let your mind really go there. Now, the attitude of gratitude hooks you up to your source of supply and it puts you in a very good vibration. Okay?
Next one's from Linda. Bob, I believe you have mentioned this before, but is attitude the most important part of goal achieving? Is this why Earl starts with it?
Well, absolutely it is. Absolutely. That's why Earl called it the magic word. It is the most important of goal achieving because it's the attitude that your attitude is the composite of the thoughts, the feelings, and actions. You're triune being. You live simultaneously on 3 planes of understanding. You're intellectual, emotional, and physical, or intellectual, emotional, spiritual, and physical, whatever way you want to look at it. So it's your thoughts, which cause your feelings, which cause your actions. Well, you've got to get them all lined up on a positive frequency. And that's everything. And if you've got the wrong attitude, you're just not going to grow. Right attitude's everything. Most people let what's going on outside control their attitude, and that just doesn't work. Okay?
All right, next one's from Christopher. When setting a worthy goal, C-type, do we focus on the end result, the waterfront mansion, or do we focus on the thing that will get us there, such as becoming a successful PGI consultant?
Well, that's a question I just answered a few minutes ago. You keep the image of the waterfront place in your mind. That is very important. That's what motivates you, and you can have it. Now, mentally, you should be there. You should live in that place mentally. Then focus on what you're doing. Keep getting better at what you're doing. As a consultant, there's no end to what you can earn. Absolutely no end to it. It's one of the highest paid professions in the world. And just get real good at presenting it. And you get real good at presenting it, you'll be able to buy a string of waterfront properties. Okay?
Okay, next one's from Jody. You've said all you need is a pen and paper to close a deal. What do you do with your pen and paper when you have a prospect in front of you?
Well, I would lay the paper down and I'd put the pen down and I'd start asking them some questions. And what I'm doing, there was a insight of the day the other day by Stephen Covey that was really excellent. He said, you don't listen to hear, you listen to gain understanding. So if I'm talking, I want to gain an understanding of what you're saying. I want to know where you're coming from. Then I would take the paper and I'd say, listen, let's think of this for a moment. Nobody's ever seen the mind. No one. But there was a doctor that drew a picture of one. And the person that started our company, he fell in love with this drawing and he's been using it. Now I've adopted it. I want to share it with you. I want to show you how your mind functions. And I'm going to show you what you can do and what you have to do if you really want to change your results. Because most people are not in control of their results. I'm going to show you how you can be in complete control. And if you will really pay attention, I'm going to show you something where you can invest in yourself and you can get any results you want. Then I go to work with the pen.
Okay. Next one's from Joannie. It says, Lesson 3 says that you should focus on just one goal, but TIR Lesson 1 says you should have 2 goals, one personal, one professional, related to your corporate goal. Please explain the contradiction.
Well, I think one feeds the other. It's not that there are 2 goals. There should only be one C-type goal. You can't have 2. You can't be going to 2 ports at the same time. And so one will feed the other. One's a stepping stone to the other. Like we want to get you to focus. You have a personal goal. You may have a job, and your job may not fulfill your total life. So you may have personal objectives that you want to reach. The job may help you get there. So if you focus on the one, it's going to help feed the other one. That's really the way that is.
All right, next one's from Gavin. Hi, Bob. How do you determine your value and more specifically what to charge? Do you have advice on contract negotiations? I'm about to negotiate a new and exciting job opportunity for myself.
Well, I think you have to ask yourself what you're worth. And you don't settle for less. I never negotiate for price. I have a price that I charge, and if they don't want to pay it, then I don't do it. And that's the way it is. If you come to buy something from me, I give you a price and that's it. If I was buying something from you, whatever you ask, that's what I'll give you if I feel like I want it. So I think you have to determine what is your time worth? What do you want to earn? And then ask yourself, are you worth that? And you'll know whether you are or not. That's what you want to ask for. And you let them know they're getting a good person. When I went to work at Nightingale Conant Corporation, I knew they weren't looking for people per se, and yet they were because every company is looking for a good person. So and then I told Lloyd Conant that, I said, listen, I know your company is growing, and I know you need good people. I'm a good man. I've got great work habits. And I sold myself to him. He asked me what I want to be paid, and I said, I don't really care what you pay me. Ultimately, I know I'm going to get what I'm worth. And I never got it there, but I've got it now. So it all came to me in the long haul, and it always will by law. But I think you have to know what you're worth. Okay?
Okay, next one's from Oscar. I'm looking to buy a home by the beach, and I really don't have the money right now, but I'm going to break through that paradigm and buy it. I just want to confirm I'm doing the right thing.
Absolutely. Go after what you want, for sure. Only think of how you can. Don't spend any time thinking of why you can't. The way to do anything is already here. All we have to do is figure it out. The way to build a cell phone was always here. The way to get to the moon was always here. The way to get a plane off the ground was always here. The way to create an incandescent light was always here. It took somebody with a determination and a desire and the will to do it.
Okay. Next one's from Carolyn. What can I do to attract customers?
Well, mentally see yourself with them. See yourself with them, but also go looking for them. Everybody you talk to, start talking about, whatever it is you're selling. Tell them, how great it is. Say, if you knew what this was, you'd want it. It's really good. You start talking to everybody.
Okay. Next one's from Gerard. I have to do marketing, labor, admin, and most tasks myself in my business. I am really busy and wanting to outsource, but I don't feel like I can afford it. Any tips?
You probably can't afford not to, Gerard. See, I think if a person is working by themselves, they're not being paid properly, because there's certain jobs that you can do or you could hire somebody for minimum wage to do. And if that's what you're doing, that's all you're worth while you're doing it. I think one thing a person needs more than anything is an assistant. And they need somebody to help them do what they're doing, do the heavy lifting so you can get on with the more important subjects or projects. For a long time, I just took it for granted everybody knew that, but everybody doesn't know that. Everybody doesn't know that an assistant is one of the most important things you can have in business. I've got as an assistant, I got one of the best in the world. She's been working with me for 33 years, Gina Hayden. She's incredible. Okay, that's what you need.
All right, next one's from Thomas. Bob, you mentioned the best way to set up MSIs is network marketing. Can you explain on how to get involved in a good organization?
Well, I think it's one of the best ways. It's not a matter of getting involved in a good organization. It's getting involved with a person that's really good. Most of the organizations are pretty good. I suppose there's some of them that aren't really great, but most of them are very good. And what you want is somebody that's really good at the business. If you were to, Eric Worre wrote a book, GoPro, and he has an organization. You go online and find it, GoPro. He has classes that he runs where people that earn $1 million or more. You want to find somebody that's really doing well, and that's the person you want to go with, because they're the ones that can help you. Too many people are getting involved in network marketing with somebody that doesn't know how to do it themselves. So you got the blind leading the blind, If you find a company, find out who's the biggest earner. Who's the biggest earner in your area? And that's the only person you should talk to. Okay.
And then Thomas has a second question. Would you say Thomas DeSilva is a multimillionaire?
I don't know Thomas DeSilva.
Okay. Next one is from Lawanda. What are 3 key pieces of advice you would say to someone transitioning into sales?
I would buy the book, How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling by Frank Betcher. Don't let the title of the book throw you off. I don't like the title of the book, but the book is an incredible book. It's an old one too. How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling by Frank Betcher, B-E-T-G-E-R, I think it is. Practice your presentation. You've got to have a very good sales presentation. Most people in sales have a terrible sales presentation, absolutely terrible. It's a wonder they sell anything. I think they make enough calls, and every now and then they find somebody who's going to buy, but they certainly didn't sell them. make an excellent sales presentation. I would find someone that has distinguished themselves selling whatever it is you're going to sell. I'd go and ask them, what's a half a dozen things that I should do every day? Okay.
All right, next one's from Carolyn. How can I consistently be in the vibration of what I want and make it a reality?
Well, I don't know if you're going to consistently stay there. You can stay there often, but we are subject to outside influences where, you know, our environment plays a big role in our life. Carl Menninger from the Menninger Foundation one time said it's more important than heredity. So you're not going to get away from that. You're going to get knocked off course. Things happen. The trick is when you get knocked off course, make certain you spin yourself right back onto course again. You can do it. I did it and do it by reading a lot, and I listen to recorded messages a lot. So I'm forever studying something that's upbeat, and it's going to inspire me. And I think that's the best way to stay there. Listen to recorded messages often. When you're in your car, turn your radio off. Turn it into an educational vehicle. Turn recordings on.
Okay, next one's from Michael. This is a question regarding auto-suggestion from Chapter 4 of Think and Grow Rich. Bob, you recommend affirmations in the format of, I am so happy and grateful now that. Why did you change what Hill recommended?
Because I like this better. You're happy and grateful puts you in a good vibration to start off. See, an affirmation is a statement from yourself to yourself. It's a positive statement. When you turn the affirmation over to the subjective mind accepts it as the way it is. So I like the idea I'm happy and I'm grateful. Now that. And then it has happened. I've changed a few things that Hill did, suggested. Mind you, keep in mind that he wrote this in 1935. This is 1937, actually. Well, I've done a lot of studying, 57 years of it. And I had all his material to start with, so I've probably gone past what he was teaching in many areas. Okay?
Right, next one's from Ahmed. How can I stop overthinking about the different matters in life?
I don't know as you overthink. I think you think about it a lot. You just don't let the things control you. You control the thinking. That's it. That's the beautiful part of this. You've got the choice to do that.
Okay. Next one's from Anita. Is it okay to set a goal having prospects and money together? I have been working around this for a while now, and I still haven't attracted it. Is it because of my vibration and paradigm?
Is it okay to set a goal, have prospects and money together? The goal is to have prospects and money. I don't see that as a goal. Money can be a goal. I suppose prospects should be a goal. It's sort of a feeble one. Because prospects, you can go, they're everywhere, you know. An amount of money can be a goal. It's your prospects that's going to get you to them. I would practice your presentation. I'd get the presentation down very strong. And you start to see yourself making a lot of presentations. You know, visualize yourself. Visualize people coming to you, wanting what you've got. You're really good. People are going to come to you. They will come from long distances. Okay.
All right, next one is from Kevin. He says, J.B. Hunt says, decide what you are prepared to give up to get it. What do you consider the price one has to pay to be successful in TIR? I consider being successful as 25 new clients per month.
Well, I think that's a very subjective thing. I don't think anybody can answer that for somebody else. You have to decide what you're prepared to give up to get it. I mean, Hunt was right. Decide what you want. Decide what you're prepared up to get it. Decide what you want. Set your mind to it. Or prepared to set what you're prepared to give up to get it, and then set your mind to it and get on with the work, he said. 25 new clients a month. Yes, if you really apply yourself, you could do that. You could do that fairly easy. You might want to get a good group presentation that you can put together. I mean, a very good presentation you can make to a group of people. And then you can get someone that's working with you to bring people to a room, rent a room in a hotel, and put a meeting on every night. I did that for a long time. In fact, I had a note from my brother one time. I was getting some kind of a commendation for something that I had done well. I don't know what it was. And my brother from California, he phoned and congratulated me. And he told me he worked with me for a while one time. And he said, I remember one time we had a meeting going and everybody was excited because the head of training for IBM was coming to the meeting. And there was about 100 seats set up in the room, and he was the only one that showed up. And he said, you put on a meeting as if the room was full. Because not many people would have done that. I'd forgotten that, but he brought it to my attention. You got to be prepared to put on a meeting then. But if you want 25 a week, I would suggest you start talking to more than one person at a time and get very good at a group presentation. Okay?
The next one's from Alexandra. What shall I do when I receive a thought that I do not want? It's like an inner boycott that is trying to stop me from all kinds of actions. Is it telling me that I'm going sideways?
Just tell it to get out of your mind. Say, get out of here. Talk to it. It's your paradigm talking to you. Well, you talk back to the paradigm. Say, get out of town. Get out of here. And really look at it like there is a person inside of you that's talking to you. And that's what paradigms are. It's somebody else's ideas that's programmed into your mind. And just tell them to get out of here and get back to thinking of what you want to think about. Don't let that idea stay there. It can only stay there if you permit it to. You're in control of that area. Okay?
Next one's from Ida. Bob, what control system do you use to manage your MSIs and get an exact answer of the daily billings of each MSI?
Oh, I have no idea. We have accountants. I have all kinds of people working with me. I don't even look after it when it's all added up. I mean, Sandy Gallagher's the money genius in our company, and she takes care of all that. But we have different departments. So it started out with just me, and I kept getting more help and more help. I kept getting better at what I did, and I get more help so I could stay doing what I'm good at. See, the trick is to stick to your knitting. Hire somebody to do what you don't like doing. If you don't like doing it, you don't like doing it probably because you're not very good at it. If you're not very good at it, you shouldn't be doing it anyway. You turn it into departments. It goes from individuals to departments. You need help. Okay?
Next one's from Eileen. Creativity is the opposite of routine, but we have a study routine. Is there a conflict?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, you may study differently all the time. You may change your mode of study. You may take a chapter and start to read it backwards, paragraph at a time. Move up from the bottom, move up, paragraph at a time. Different ways of study. But no, I see study as a discipline that's essential if you want to go ahead. It's when you get locked in. You may be locked into some kind of a routine, but you change it frequently. It's like you change your plan. You don't stick to you don't change the goal, you change the plan.
All right, next one's from Deidre. I am also enrolled in your TIF program as a consultant since August of 2017. The key is to start with your C goal. In the new Lead the Field, you say to write your goal each day, but I'm still unsure of my goal, and that's so frustrating. How do I work out my C-type goal?
Oh, I think what's the matter here is that you sit down and there's something you really want, but you have no idea how to get it. You don't have the money to get it. You don't seem to have the time to get it, so you reject it before you even give it serious thought. And that's the problem with most people with C-type goals. They settle in on a B-type goal, the goal that they think they can reach. If I did this and if I did that, then I could get this. And if I did this, I could get the money here. And then if she did this or he did that, and you're trying to figure out how to do it, you got to have a goal, something that you really want. You really want. And you don't know how to get it. That's the C-type goal. And if you haven't got one, it's because you're not taking the time to really think of what do you really want.
Okay. Next one's from Shirley. We hear of young children that have experienced psychological trauma as a result of abuse. As we are the creators of our own circumstances, how does a child at such a tender age attract such negative emotion?
Well, there's all kinds of theories on that. You get into reincarnation. You think it's a bad thing. It's not necessarily bad. It just is. And it could turn into a good thing where they determine that they are going to find children that are abused and help them because of their experience. So you don't know why you attract some things, but you do attract it. Everything works on attraction. And you can't get away from that. You attract what you're in harmony with. There's different theories on that you really got to dig into. See, a lot of people believe that you are a soul. You don't have a soul. You are a soul, and you consciously choose where you're going to incarnate into this world. But that's into a different subject altogether, okay?
All right, and she has a second question. After following the Lead the Field program, I'm excited about starting a career in life insurance. Are there any marketing strategies that you could share?
Oh, if you're going to get into life insurance, first of all, most people are dangerously underinsured. Most people will tell you insurance is a dumb idea. Well, insurance is not a dumb idea. It's an excellent idea. You could sit down with a person, you say, do you know something? With a piece of paper and a little bit of ink, I could create a $1 million estate for you. Because that's what an insurance agent can do. If you're in front of a prospect before 9 a.m. every day, you could change your life and change it dramatically. I think insurance is a great idea. And I think there's great insurance companies. Just make an excellent presentation and then get in front of prospects early. If you're going to be in insurance, you should be in front of a real live prospect. First of all, insurance is strictly commission. And any commission job, if you're not in front of a prospect, you're unemployed. You're not even working. Most people don't understand that, but that's what it is. It's a good move. Next one.
All right, next one's from Gabriel. As a full-time chiropractic student, what can you recommend I do as a potential source of income?
Well, you might look at working with one of our consultants, work with whoever sold you the program, become an affiliate for them. Anything, see, chiropractic, I think, is one of the best healing arts there is, because I think a real good chiropractor treats you intellectually, emotionally, and physically. Chiropractic, I think, is relatively new to the medical field. Some doctors don't even buy into it yet, but it's excellent. In fact, a lot of what I learned about the mind, I learned from good chiropractors. Now, what can you do? Well, there's different things you can do. I would get into doing something to do with the mind, like along the line we are, and start selling this, because that's what you're selling when you become a chiropractor. You're selling the people on positive thoughts intellectually. Then you're selling them on positive thoughts emotionally. And then you're helping them adjust the systems in their body. Okay?
All right, and Gabriel has a second question. What would be your best advice for someone who is afraid to speak in public?
Learn how. Look up Gove Siebold Group, Gove Siebold, 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 Gove Siebold, Steve Siebold. In fact, hold on. I think I've got his number. The number is 770-520-1004. 770-520-1004. Another number, or the email is Steve, S-T-E-V-E, at Govesiebold, Govesiebold.com. Steve at Govesiebold.com. They run a course. I know them very well. Steve and his wife, Dawn, they're excellent. They run one of the best speaking courses there is. And it was through Bill Gove that I learned to speak. He didn't actually teach me how to speak. He taught me how to feel comfortable in front of an audience. That's what you have to do. That's where I would go. And I'm going to tell you something. When you learn to speak in public, you develop a confidence that you won't, I don't think you can develop any other way.
All right, next question's from Danielle. How do you set up multiple sources of income when you already have another business that takes up most of your time?
Well, you see, if you have a business that takes up most of your time, MSI is what you really want. And MSI is not another business. An MSI is a source of income. So a source of income doesn't mean you work. Working is the worst way to earn money. That's what Hill said. He said, if you're one of those people who believe hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, perish the thought. It isn't true. He says riches, when they come in huge quantities, are never the result of hard work. They come in response to definite demands based upon the application of definite principles and not by chance or luck. So what you're doing is setting up a source of income. You may find something where you're an affiliate, and whenever you're talking to people, you should say, you should look at this. It's just, suggestion that you're giving them. You're not out actively selling something, but there's different ways. When you make up your mind you're going to figure out how to do it, the ways will start to come to you. You'll start to listen for sources of income. See, I set a goal of having $25,000 when I was earning $4 and I owed $6, and I had no idea where the money was going to come from. I just believed that if I kept reading it, you can believe it because I was told to believe it. And so I kept studying it. And I just kept studying. And the way came to me. It just comes because you start thinking of how to earn more money. That's what you want to do.
All right, and Danielle has a second question. My business is to buy and sell homes at a wholesale price. My average deal is around $5,000, which I want to increase to $10,000 and up. How do I get on that frequency? I know it's possible.
Well, the best way to get on that frequency is step out and do that. Just make up your mind you're going to do it and do it. Quit thinking about it and just figure out how to do it. So you just assume that you already got it and do it. It's the action. That's why Don Shula says it's the start that stops most people. Just start doing that. Upgrade it. You may take in a partner. You might find an investor who wants to earn some money.
Okay. Next question is from Sudani. What is the difference between thought and idea? Do we use our mind to think of the thought or idea?
Well, a thought could be an idea. An idea is a thought or a group of thoughts that's directed towards a particular end. An idea is a thought. One thought could represent an idea or a group of thoughts that come together to build an idea. An idea becomes a picture on the screen of our mind. You do use your mind to think of the thought or the idea, absolutely.
And then also asking what kind of thoughts are vibrating in our spiritual being.
That's where your paradigm is. And then you get into universal intelligence. All knowledge is there. All knowledge there ever was or ever will be is there in your universal mind. Omnipresent, 100% evenly present in all places at the same time.
All right, next one's from Jane. I am breaking away from my full-time work and entering my own business. There is some fear in earning enough money and asking clients for the money. Please help.
Well, I don't know what your business is, but money is something that has to be earned. So your business must provide service. You want to be very good at providing the service. And don't be afraid of it, because if you're afraid of it, you're going to attract what you fear. You're fearing because you're thinking lack or limitation. Start to think abundance. You know, the part about asking clients for the money, that's the most difficult thing for most salespeople. I started to study sales through books because I didn't have a sales manager and I didn't know how to sell. And they pointed out that one of the most difficult things was asking for the check or asking for the money. Today it's asking for the credit card or the check. And I made up my mind I was going to get good at that. If that was the most difficult thing, I was going to make it easy. And they make it easy by getting good at it. And when you're making a sales presentation, you can sense the person getting uncomfortable because they can sense you're coming in for a landing that you're going to ask them to buy. Now, what you're asking them to buy is what they told you they wanted. So I would say, you know, Jane, something strange is happening here in our energy. I think you can sense it, and I can. You told me this is what you wanted. You told me that you could really see, yes, you've agreed with me, this could help you get it. And you're sensing that I'm going to be asking you to buy it, and now I can feel reluctance. Well, that's your paradigm that's trying to stop you from getting the thing that you say you want. It's going to help you live the way you want to live. Now, you've got to override that paradigm because your feelings are right. I am going to ask you to buy it, but I'm going to ask you to buy it because you told me you wanted it, and I want to help you get it, and I want to help you get past this. So let's work past it together. Just go get the credit card, and let's get this thing moving. You got to hit it head on and understand what's happening. They tell you they want it, and then when they go to pay for it, they're afraid to pay for it because they're afraid of spending the money. They're going to spend the money anyway. Person will tell you they don't have the time, they don't have the money. They're going to spend the time and the money anyway. What are they spending it on? See, the most important thing is that you're honest to the people, Jane. Just be honest with them. Next.
Next one's from, whoops, back. There we go, from Gerard. I'm now on lesson 8, but old paradigms are still proving hard to beat. I've missed days here and there, and 5 days into lesson 8, still haven't listened to it. I want to change, but proving difficult. What do you suggest I do?
Well, I would suggest that you get rid of the idea that you're having difficulty and start today. And then do it every day. Lesson 8 is on self-management, and that's what you want to do. You want to start managing you. And so don't worry about being into it for 5 days and not having done it. Forget that. You're here today. Do it today. That's all you have to do is just focus on today. Give it everything you've got. And make up your mind. Let the past go. What happened in the past got nothing to do with what's going on in the future. You make a decision right now that you're going to do this every day. And to the best of your ability, you're going to live it, not just listen to it.
Okay. Next one's from Hannah. Is there any limitation on how much better we can get in taking decisions? If there is no limitation, then procrastination is so hard and difficult to understand. What is the key to defeating it?
Well, the key to defeating procrastination is to make decisions. Decision is the polar opposite to procrastination. I would take and read the chapter on decision out of Think and Grow Rich every day with someone for 30 or 60 days. Now, when I say with someone, get on the phone with them. You read a few lines, then you say pass. Then they read a few lines, they say pass. Then you pick it up there and you read a few lines, you say pass. Now that means when I'm reading, you're listening. When you're reading, I'm listening, because I got to pick up when you say pass, I got to pick up where you're at. So you're hearing it and you're seeing it all at the same time. And read it every day for 30 or 60 days. You couldn't do that and still be undecisive. That'll help you become very decisive. And it's a very important quality to have, to be. Hill points out in the first page that all successful people make decisions very fast and change them very slow, if and when they change them at all. Next.
All right, so that's all the questions that we had submitted in advance. We have about 9 minutes, and I have a couple of questions that came through the chat. Do you want to take a few minutes to answer some of those?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, this one's from Lyle. I am wondering how to prioritize my daily tasks, if the tasks are the same priority, because they all result in gaining revenue.
Well, I think what you want to do before you go to bed at night is sit down and look at goal-achieving activities. And then you prioritize the goal-achieving activities. You do the most important thing first. And you keep moving in that direction. It's what most people don't do. They wake up in the morning and they just look around and then they do whatever comes to their mind. Well, you're going to make up your mind you're going to go further and faster than that.
Okay. Laura sent in a question. What advice would you give to a single mom with poor paradigms that is looking to start a new business to be financially secure?
Well, you've got every reason to want to be financially secure. So that means that the want is pretty strong. And if the want is strong, remember the want is in the conscious mind. The desire is in the subconscious. So you're going to get emotionally involved in that idea and understand you can do it. And you can become very, very good at it. There's a lot of single mothers that become very wealthy. The reason for doing it is so strong. You not only want to look after your family, but you want to be an excellent example for them. So that's the important thing. Just keep that in mind and know you can do it, and just keep thinking, how can I raise the bar? How can I earn more? Because it doesn't matter what you're doing, you can earn more. And if you're selling, there's no end to what you can do. You can become very, very successful.
All right. Julie has a question. Can you have a seagull that you're absolutely in love with? It excites you and scares you at the same time, but you have no idea why you want it.
Well, I tell you why you want it. Most people don't know why they want something. They want it because they want to grow. The wants come from the essence of who you are. There's perfection within you, and that perfection is always seeking expression through you. And so it's your essence of you jabbing you in the consciousness, want this, want this. And that causes you to stretch. That causes you to go where you've never been. That causes you to bring something to the surface that you have never brought to the surface yet. Wants are for growth. And wants come from the essence of who we are, which is perfection within us. We are spiritual beings. We were created in God's image. In other words, we've got infinite potential locked up within us. And so you want things to grow. That's what goals are for. Goals are not to get. Getting stuff is a side benefit, but that's not the reason to want it. You want it to grow. That's why you're going after something you have no idea how to get. That causes you to stretch, to reach into areas you've never been. Next one.
All right, next one's from Jens. It's hard for me to walk confident in public or go grocery shopping or sitting at a bus stop. I always worry if somebody's looking at me And if people laugh at me, I get embarrassed. Do you have any effective tips?
Well, yeah, it's a self-image thing. You want to get the self-image video and watch it every day. You've got the wrong idea about yourself in your subconscious mind. You got to get to the point where you don't give a damn what anybody thinks of you. What's really important is what you think of you. If you go through life being concerned about other things, you're going to be up and down like a roller coaster. And you've got no control over their thinking. First of all, it's none of your business what they think of you. Terry Cole Whitaker wrote a book on that. You might look it up. It's called What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. And it's true. What you think is none of my business. And I really don't care what people think of me. I hope they like me. I'm a nice guy. But if they don't, that's their loss. I like me. So you want to be concerned with what you think of you. And what you've got to do is realize there's greatness within you. You're operating with an inferior image of yourself. You want to change it, and you can change it. Make a written description of how you want the world to see you, how you want to see you, how they want the world to see you, and write it in the present tense and become that person. Want to become a more interesting person. You know how to become interesting? Get interested. If I'm talking to somebody and I leave them, they'll say, well, was he ever an interesting guy? They'll say, well, who is he? I don't even know if I remember his name. You say, you don't know his name, you think he was interesting? Yeah. Why was he so interesting? I don't know. You know why he's interesting? Because he's interested. He's interested in what you have to say. And when we think a person's interesting, that's because they're interested. They pay attention to us. Start paying attention to other people. Quit worrying about what they think. Pay very close attention to them. Try and listen to understand, not just to hear, but to understand where they're coming from. Okay?
All right, I think we have time for one more. It's from Shyman. How can I get a client that set up a goal and really wants it, but is not willing to use the program to get it?
Well, it's because you haven't sold it to him. If he's not willing to do his program, it's because you haven't sold it to him. You haven't made him want it. It's your presentation that's lacking. So you want to make a stronger presentation. But understand this. Some of them you're never going to sell. Move on. Go to somebody else. You know? Don't just keep beating on a dead bush. Like, keep going. Okay.
All right, so we're at the top of the hour. So thank you, Bob, for taking the time to answer all the questions, and thanks to all of you.
You've done a great job, Tracy. Do you know that I hear nothing but good thoughts about you?
Is that so?
Everybody tells me what a wonderful person you are to work with.
Well, I think it's because I love what I do, so it makes it easy.
Well, that's what they tell me, so I'll believe you.
All right, that works for me.
Okay, thanks everybody for calling in. Thank you, Tracy. Bye now.
All right, have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.